of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. As we put our notes a little earlier, that actually we are going to do more intensive campaign. It is so important. All the vote, your voice can be heard. It is so important for South Sudanese American who live in the 50 state of the United States of America. Not only South Sudanese, the American as well, and the African, immigrant African, and all citizens who live in the United States. This is a very, very important time of this year. This election is election, the character is on the ballot. You are looking for decency, a man with the decency, a man with judgment. That's why it's so crucial for all of you to go and vote. Tonight, I'm going to host a volunteer who was actually a captain precinct in Des Moines, Iowa. Is a member of the Democratic Party, James Agwek. I will bring him here tonight, and then we will talk more, have more discussion to encourage the voters, South Sudanese American, the American, African American, and all other African actually who migrated to the United States for an opportunity. This country is a country of opportunity. As I said on my previous live show, that America is always lead by example. And that's why we need to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because they are people of decency, they are people of moral courage, they are people of mental conviction. So Joe and Kamala Harris, they are going to sustain the health care that you need. They have a lot in common, and we have a lot in common. So let me go ahead and bring my guest tonight, and then we can have more discussion here. James Agwek will join us from Des Moines, Iowa. As I said, he's a volunteer. He's a volunteer for Democratic Party. Now he's encouraging the voters to go out and vote. So James, good evening, and thank you for staying late night tonight so we can do this together. It's so crucial. So welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. As I said, we are conducting this very important live event tonight to encourage South Sudanese American and to encourage other Americans to come out and vote. As I said, this election is election of character, decency, and morals. And we have two candidates, actually. Joe Biden is a man that we believe in, and he can make change, and he can unite the United States of America. As you have seen, for the last 4 years, America is more divided to the left, to the right. And the reason is the sitting president that we have. The guy that cares about himself, the guy that doesn't care about the citizen of this country. We know very well when pandemic hit the United States of America, and instead of president of the United States, coming down and calling for unity and encouraging American, he started complaining. He started complaining that people are too tough on him when they are asking him. You realize that when he's giving a briefing, in the White House, a daily briefing, he keep complaining and hammering on the journalists. So James, welcome one more time. And I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers tonight, and then we go on from there to encourage our people to come out and vote. Go ahead.
Hey, hello, brother Jonkur. How are you? Thanks for the warm welcome. My name is James Agwek, a concerned citizen and a volunteer for Biden and Harris ticket, So thanks for hosting me, and I'm looking forward to it, and I welcome all the viewers. I just don't see you on the screen.
Yeah, no problem. Our viewers, actually, they see you, and I see you clear, and you are very loud. And one more time, I'm glad to have you, James. This is a duty of citizen. And tonight we want to tell South Sudanese American, we want to tell other American, we want to tell African who migrated to the United States, that actually when you become a citizen of the country, when you become an American citizen, you have a duty, okay? Because if you don't vote, and then your voice cannot be heard, and you cannot complain, because now the decision has been making, and you have to be part of that decision. And how you are part of that decision, and by going to ballot and vote, so your voice can be heard. And we have heard so many. So James, I want you to tell us a little bit. I know that you have been a captain, precinct captain, in Democratic Party in Iowa. how it looked like, to involve in a political organization like Democratic Party in Iowa, and what do you do exactly? And now you are a volunteer. I want you to walk us through, and also your message, to our viewers and to people who are still reluctant out there who don't want to go and vote. What is your message to them tonight, James? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. First and foremost, I'm honored to have the opportunity to volunteer in a campaign that could possibly bring the next president of the United States, the most powerful country on earth. If you asked me 20 years ago that I will be in the United States, even participating in the general election, I don't see myself imagining that, only God knows that how far we've come. So I'm going to go right to the point that you just started first. That you brought up the importance of voting, especially for those of us South Sudanese. This is sacred of being the citizen, It is a sacred responsibility that we shall not take it for granted. After all, we never had it. We fought for so many years to have that right to elect our leader, and we have lived under dictator and oppressive regime, and we have seen it in real life. Yes. How bad can it get? And so, in one hand, we all should be thankful and grateful for the opportunity that we came to this great nation. One way of giving back is to be a good citizen, what we call a good citizen. Good citizen is a citizen that takes their obligation towards their country seriously. Among these serious responsibility is voting and jury duty, or joining the U.S. Army, or serving in public office, so that we could give back every minute we get an opportunity to give back. So that's it doesn't matter what party you vote for, just vote. That's first. Now, I was a precinct captain. I know it didn't, this particular year was not that so well outcome. We had an app did crash on us. And we were up until 2 a.m., giving report once again, and then we had to give it over again and over again. There was a technical issue that happened. So we didn't knew the result until the next day. I hope it doesn't happen in a general election, but that was a technical issue through the apps that Democratic Party used for reporting the caucus result. So I was in charge of one of the precinct district. I was the precinct captain. Basically, my responsibility. The way caucus work was my first time because I'm from Florida. We only vote a straight vote.
Yes.
So the way caucus work, you group 20, 30 people, and then each one of us, you have the right to recruit for your candidate, convince others to move to your table. So we have first and second round, and the final round, which is the third. The viability was in play. Like you have to have at least 15% to stay viable. Other than that, if you're below 15%, then your supporter have to choose from the viable candidate. So I was proud. I had the opportunity working with the most intelligent young people that I've get to know.
Yes.
And I am really grateful that I had the opportunity. In process, I had the opportunity of meeting former vice president, one of highly respected former senator, and he's a current presidential candidate, Democratic nominee, Joe Biden. So I met him in person. I had a wonderful picture. And I'm hoping that when he moved to the White House next January, that at least I will point to that picture and they say, this is me with the President of the United States. I encourage all South Sudanese to go out and vote, support Joe and Kamala Harris, uh, for a few reasons. I know most of us are moderate conservative. Many of us identify with the Republican Party. I personally did vote for John McCain over the former president, Obama. And the reason is that given the historical background of South Sudan, we suffered execution for many years in South Sudan. During the war in South Sudan, it was Americans that were there to aid us, give us medicine, give us food. So, and then they took their effort, thanks to all the religious, by bringing the war to an end in Sudan in 2005. Most of the Sudan CPA was completely sponsored by the United States under former president, who's highly respected in South Sudan, George W. Bush.
Yes.
Is a man that I still have a high regard for. And I had the opportunity of also getting to know his brothers when he was my governor in Florida, Jeb Bush.
Yep. Okay.
So many of us identify. However, what happened in 2016, it's something that is hard to explain. I don't think South Sudanese need a lot of explanation because we have seen it in reality. Is that out of nowhere we had Mr. President Donald J. Trump, who was once upon a time actually a Democrat. He is no conservative by no means. I don't think he's one of the people who could be associated with religious conservatives. He was for everything that Democratic Party was for until the time he decided to run as a Republican. Now, he may be using the platform of being a Republican. However, all his deed and everyday action does not seem to be anything but Republican ideas or conservative ideas.
Correct.
Because the conservative we know is the one with Ronald Reagan, is the one with Abraham Lincoln and George W. Bush. These are conservative who project the United States leadership around the world. They led by example and let the power of United States example to be as equal to the United States military power. And that was something that United States actually benefited from it. Many people were told that immigration is bad and that the relationship between country and another country is bad. In the 21st century, the most advanced country technologically and education-wise, almost United States can compete anywhere. There is no way on earth that the U.S. can be a loser in a world where business is conducted like in a free market.
Yes.
Not isolationism. Isolationism make the countries that are most advanced actually the loser, because we don't manufacture cars that we come to sell in the United States. We buy United States car manufacturer
products. Yes.
Now, if there is no relationship where you have to import and export, then the people who manufacture are the one not going to have market of which to sell their products to. So I encourage all South Sudanese to not take this election as between conservative versus liberal, Republican versus Democratic, but this is the character of the United States at the ballot here. We need a president who will first and foremost take the human right seriously. Currently, United States was the champion of the human right once upon a time.
Yes.
But under current administration, they have withdrawn from most of the human right organization.
Correct.
An organization that was solely found and funded by the United States. The only guard for the hopeless and the powerless people around the world.
Yes.
You know, it is the human right organization and the United Nations that many of us look up to when we were hopeless in South Sudan.
Correct.
When the world seemed to be too far away from you, you knew there were people who care about human rights out there, that they would come to your rescue. So my message to the people of South Sudan and all the United States citizens, this is not even an election that is going to decide by policy or ideologies, you know, because our current president have went against every ideology that Republican and conservative once upon a time stood for.
Yes.
We cannot by any chance pledge our loyalty to individual, but rather to the country, to the nation, because individual comes and goes, but the nation will remain forever. And loyalty to individual, if anybody who wanted to know what works with that, ask me, because I have lived it. I live in Sudan, where the Sudan and the army give the loyalty and the people to the President Omar al-Bashir, and we have seen what he could do with that loyalty. He could commit atrocity against the innocent people, human rights abuse, war crime. And where is Bashir now? He's sitting behind bars. Oh, well, what about those who associate the nationalism or the love for the Sudan with symbol of Bashir? What do we do now? Is that the end of Sudan?
Yeah.
No, of course.
James,
That's why.
James, if I have to interject here, I saw actually my dear brother here, Alfred Amigo, said, this election is about moral. Yes, this election is about moral, about character, about, you know, moral courage and conviction. And we have seen Mr. Donald J. Trump is lacking all the above. Donald Trump is not a uniter. Americans are more divided in his administration. And there is a fear that I see. Actually, he wants America to be more pragmatic. It can lead to a civil war. And if there is a civil war in the United States of America, and then those adversary of the United States, the Chinese and the Russia, are going to be the beneficial. And we are all aware that China doesn't care about human rights violation. China doesn't care about the environment. China doesn't care about all of this. Russia is the same thing. They sell the gun to the people, whether in Africa or whether in Asia, to kill themselves. But always America has been playing a role of big sister and big brother. So Donald J. Trump actually is lacking completely foreign policy. You know, he does not know anything about foreign policy. America has to lead back again. And in order for America to lead back again, America has to elect someone decent, someone with moral, someone who care about American interests outside, who care about other people, other people other than the American citizen. And actually, James, I am going to play a clip. And you mentioned a lot of things. Our background as a South Sudanese American, we've been through difficult time. We've been through war when we were one. And Joe Biden actually is one of the players. As you mentioned there, George W. Bush and some administration, actually, they have stood with people of South Sudan. They stood with people of South Sudan when they created Sudan Lifeline to feed the refugee, to feed those who were in camp, to feed those who were just all over, across in Kenya, in Uganda, in Ethiopia, in refugees camp. America stood by those. And now you are telling me here what we can give back. As long as we are getting this opportunity to become a U.S. citizen, this is the time that, we need to vote. Joe Biden in 2010, he pushed for South Sudan referendum. I remember very well, he met with President Kiir that time. We were not a republic. We were still Southern Sudan then. He met with Salva Kiir in Nairobi, Kenya, and he pushed the referendum. He came back to Washington, D.C., and a lot of South Sudanese, they have forgotten this. Always, when you talk to them, they said, oh, well, Obama administration, they did not do anything. But they are not aware that actually al-Bashir was not going to allow the committee for referendum to be formed. Unless President Barack Obama, that time with Joe Biden, they push harder and they call for that very important meeting 6 months prior to referendum. They call it in New York, involve Ban Ki-moon, Ali Usman Mataha, Salva Kiir, and others from the SPLM party. That's why referendum was able to go through. So America has done more and more and more, and this is about character. This is about decency, as you put it clearly. I want to play a clip here for all African migrants who live here in the United States, who came here to the United States by themselves. The reason that I'm saying that we should vote for Joe Biden, we are not just making it up. Joe Biden will stood for dictator. He's going to stand. He's not going to human right to be violated. He's not going to allow such a thing to happen. It will stand for little guys, for wicked folks. And that's why we are supporting him. In 1986, Joe Biden confronted the apartheid government in South Africa when Reagan government wanted to start a trade with South African apartheid government. Joe Biden stood in the Senate hearing and he said, no, those South Africans, they were oppressed and there is no reason. We American people stand for decency, human rights, and fairness. We will not allow that to happen. So that can speak to you. If you are South Sudanese American, if you are American living here, it speak to you, what character of Joe Biden is and what it means to be a man with moral courage, a man with moral obligation. Let us play these clips and a lot of people will hear it and then they will know. Many people have not seen this clip before, but I'm glad we have this clip. I'm going to play it and let's watch.
What disturbs me more than the policy that you call a policy is the rationale for the policy. The rationale for the policy. You set out 4 principles that you adhere to, and then and I will go over them in a moment. And then you say on page 14, we must not become part of South Africa's problem. We must remain part of their solution. We must not aim to impose ourselves, our solutions, our favorites in South Africa. Damn it, we have favorites in South Africa. The favorites in South Africa are the people who are being repressed by that ugly white regime. We have favorites. Our loyalty is not to South Africa, it's to South Africans. And the South Africans are majority black, and they are being excoriated. It is not to some stupid puppet government over there. It is not to the Afrikaners regime. We have no loyalty to them. We have no loyalty to South Africa, to South Africans. And the fact of the matter is I listen to this rationale, first of all. It is the leaders of South Africa and their people, black and white, who have the majority responsibility. They must rise to it. Well, they are rising to it. They're rising to it. The only thing left available with that repulsive, repugnant regime of Afrikaners there. And it's the only way they have. They've tried everything for the last 20 years. They begged, they borrowed, they crawled, and now they're taking up arms. The second thing, progress toward peace requires a timetable. Timetable, elimination of apartheid. What's our timetable? What are we saying to that repugnant regime? Are we saying you've got 20 days, 20 months, 20 years? We ask them to put up a timetable. What's our timetable? These people are being crushed. And we're sitting here with the same kind of rhetoric. The same thing we heard. We heard go slow. We heard we have to take care of the problem afterwards. We heard we can't impose.
You are totally misconstruing the testimony that I gave.
Read first.
Furthermore, Senator, let me say that I hate to hear a senator of the United States calling for violence.
I'm not calling for violence.
That's what you're doing.
I hate to hear.
Exactly what you're doing.
I hate to hear an administration and a Secretary of State refusing to act on a morally abhorrent point. I hate to hear this country. I'm ashamed that this country puts out a policy like this that says nothing. Nothing.
Yep. Yeah, you have it. Yeah, you have it, my dear brother. That's Joe Biden.
There's a simple passive income business that allows you to be free.
That's Joe Biden that we know. He stood in 1986 when the Reagan government started doing some trade. They wanted to start doing some trade. Actually, that's the Secretary of State, George Scalps. I'm sorry to, his last name is kind of difficult. When they wanted to do trade with South African government, and we all know, anyone that coming from Africa, we all know that South Africa was apartheid. They had apartheid regime. which is segregate people, black on the side, white on the side. Joe Biden stood with that. Joe Biden said, no, we cannot do a trade with such a people who humiliate, who violate rights. That's their country. They are the majority, right? They have been beating up. They try all sort of things. We cannot just say, oh, let them deal with their problem. We are the big sister, the big brother. That's the role that the United States play. Okay? America doesn't go to war because they want to show that they are stronger. They want to go to war sometimes because they want to keep peace. And the only one that can keep peace in this planet is the United States of America. And to have someone who doesn't care about that value, like Donald J. Trump, someone who say that, oh, well, they are shithole, you know, let them kill themselves. And when they make peace, we will support them. That tell you, if you are supporting that person and you wanted to vote that person, that tell us what is your character as well, right? So American foreign policy has been the same since creation of this country. So the notion that some people will say, oh, well, actually we were better off with the Democratic, you know, governments, with the Republicans in the White House, is not true. They are all the same. But this year is all about character. We have seen already how he divided the American. How when journalists ask a simple question, he will say, oh, that is a stupid question. Oh, you are stupid. We have seen already when he called Ilhan Omar, the from Somalia, the one that came to the United States and went to school here and acquired education, and she was able to be elected to become a U.S. congressman. You remember when he said that, oh, Ilhan Omar, she wanted to tell us how to run our country, right? So he wanted to say that actually you are not a U.S. citizen. It doesn't matter. You are naturalized. You are not a U.S. citizen. So someone that doesn't believe that we are part of this country, why should you vote for him? We need to vote for Joe because Joe doesn't care whether you are a naturalized citizen or you are born in Washington or you are born in Utah or in Iowa or in Georgia or in Maine. As long as you are a U.S. citizen and you come to this country to have an opportunity, that's what he cares about. He cares about your health. He's going to take care of this pandemic very well. So South Sudanese in Georgia, and I believe Democratic Party is going to win Georgia this year, and you can make a difference. South Sudanese American, the African American, the other migrant Africa who live in those states, they need to come out and vote. You don't get U.S. citizen and just sit with it and say, okay, oh, I am a U.S. citizen. It's okay. I can travel with this passport. No, you have a duty. And that duty, you go and vote for the right person that care about you, that care about your countrymen, that care about human rights violation, that care about others. So those who live in Atlanta, Georgia, South Sudanese American, I know them. Those who live in Kentucky, because we need Mitch McConnell to get out, because he has been delaying and playing game. We need to elect Sarah McGrath in Kentucky. Atlanta, Georgia, South Sudanese, you can make difference. South Sudanese American, you can make difference in Arizona. You can make big difference in Iowa. And Iowa is very crucial state. James, your message to them one more time. Go ahead.
Yeah, once again, I encourage all South Sudanese, other migrants to vote for Joe Biden. I have supported Joe Biden for a reason none other than what we have just seen in action. That's called a man with conviction, principle. He stood his ground even when it was not convenient. We as a human, you see, we all make mistakes, and every other administration, no, there is no government that are perfect. But sure, they do their best each and every day to at least implement what we have come to accept in our laws and the laws that we create and the treaties. You know, you as a human being, you have to have the obligation for the promises that you make. Your word has to be it matter what you say. You cannot just say today and then tomorrow completely take a 90-degree turn away from it, and somehow they tell people they should just forget about it. It is an obligation. That's how we as a human can count on one another. Is by promise. When I say I will do this, then you do that. You know. What we have seen for the past 4 years, word don't matter anymore. People are speaking at the convenience of whom are the audience that wanted to hear what they say. I don't even think that respect the supporter as well, because United States as a country and their citizens are very resilient and very brilliant people. And I have a faith in them that they will make the right decision come November 3rd to reclaim their country, the country that once upon a time respected around the world. And it was not respected because it's weak, as I hear it. There is no weak country that land in Normandy to liberate Europe. I hear current administration talking about how the U.S. suddenly became the most powerful on earth. I mean, in the history. Well, if the history of United States started 2016, then I don't know. I know history of United States started many, many years ago, 200 plus years of a very strong, with a consistent values that they try to project. Now, invasion of the military can easily be fought off by insurgents. The power that U.S. has used to invade the world is ideals, love and respect, human rights, and attract you. These are values that each one of us, no matter what corner you're from, you proclaim them to become yours. And they bring you ever closer to becoming more westernized in people, which is the United States. So I am a little surprised when I hear some people speaking about how U.S. it was all of a sudden not that great country and it has to be rescued by our current president. So that's one. Second thing is stability is very important. We all don't go to White House. I remember Hillary Clinton had about the 3 a.m. phone call emergency. You need somebody who is stable there, somebody who could you trust their judgment, not somebody that change his decision or sometimes act recklessly in a decision that sometimes is not calculate the risk that will come back to our country. So no matter how strong you are, you have to be practical. You assess the risk versus gain. If the losses are more, that what led the British ambassador to Moscow, I believe in 1940s, confront the president who was in a heated argument with Joseph Stalin of Russia because of a bad word that they say they curse each other. And the Prime Minister of England get so upset and he cursed me out. I'm not used to banding, by nature. Yeah. And he wanted to abandon the agreement. But it took the ambassador of UK in Moscow to get in the face of his Prime Minister and say, Mr. Prime Minister, the fate of the great United Kingdom is on the ballot. You cannot let your ego be the reason that the kingdom will fall.
Yes.
We need Russian alliance by all means at the time when Hitler seemed unstoppable in the war stage. So we need this alliance at all costs. So what if he cursed you out? I mean, you calculate getting cursed out and losing the British. What would be much better? You can live with that curse and save your country. It takes free people to speak their mind. Would you imagine somebody saying that to a president in somewhere in our country where we came in a dictatorship country? I'm not trying to talk down Africa by any chance. I know there are some great democratic process in some part of Africa, not the one that I left, Sudan at least. So unless if the most recent change will remain to be seen, it will be maintained. But you would not get in the face of the president and tell him, yes, it's okay for you to be cursed, and it's okay to cool down and secure the agreement that will have a larger picture interest for your country. So that's what we are up against during this election. We have a president who, if I'm not mistaken, or at least I don't want to overstate, but he could literally go to war over being cursed out by somebody who he don't want to let him to get away with that. We can't afford for such a very powerful country to be led by somebody that you have to worry every day on whether or not he will make decision out of arrogance rather than reason.
Well, James, I really, really appreciate your insight, my dear brother. But we still want to tell our people, because we don't want to do this thing too much, because a lot of people are going to watch tonight. Some people are sleeping. But when we wake up tomorrow, it's already, 1 a.m. in East Coast. When they wake up, they will watch this live video. But I want to tell them, you have a duty as a citizen. It doesn't matter how old you are in your 50s, in your 60s. Actually, in America here, these are the real age that people go and vote. So if you are South Sudanese American, Kenyan American, Nigerian American, whoever you can be, from Latin America, from Eastern European, from Middle East, please do not be reluctant. Don't say that, actually some people are voting and he's going to get out that. That's how Donald Trump got to White House in 2016, because people were so...
Do your part, let your voice be heard.
Yes, but when you do it, if you don't have a form of transportation, ask your friend. A lot of older women, a lot of South Sudanese American older women, they need assistance. If you are there as a young man, please help them. Drive them to the polling station. You in North Carolina, and I'm telling you, because we have a lot of South Sudanese American in North Carolina, Sudanese American in North Carolina, so much of them. You are going to vote and your vote count. We have over 70,000 South Sudanese Americans who are registered to vote. Over 70,000, you can make a difference. Look, in 2000, the election in the United States, that time I was in Egypt. Okay, in 2000, the election in the United States was determined by only 200 votes. Only 200 votes in Florida. Right? You remember when they went to U.S. Supreme Court? It was only 200 votes. So please do not undermine, do not underestimate what you have. You have a vital role to play. Elderly, please encourage yourself, go there and vote. And when you vote, we are going to turn Atlanta, Georgia. We are going to turn Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, and even Texas. We are talking about now neck and neck in Texas. This is possible. It is going to happen. But it is going to happen with your help. With your help. Tonight, I am sitting here. We are a volunteer. James is a volunteer. We are doing this because we care. We have been given opportunity in this country, right? It's a country that you speak up your mind. Okay. Can I do that in South Sudan? Of course not. If I do that, I'll end up in jail or I'll be killed. But look here, we can talk about the president. The bad thing that president is doing, we can talk about such a thing. So please, you have that opportunity. I want to encourage you, my sisters and brother, to go out and vote. It's only 7 days. It's only even 6 days, because it's already 1 a.m. in the East Coast. It's only 6 days. And then we have to evict that crazy uncle from the White House. James, if you have a last word, go ahead and say it so we can conclude. I mentioned a lot of reasons that Joe Biden is a man of decency, he cares, judgment. It will unite American. It will restore U.S. foreign policy, right? All the treaty. It will make America a leader.
Global leadership back on the stage, yes.
United States as a big sister, as a big brother, one more time. Other than having an arrogant man, the man that cares about himself, the man that always look about himself. I am good. I am the best in car. I am the best in whatever, But he is not best even in what he said. So go ahead and say your last word, and then after that we can conclude. So we don't want to take too much.
I will say first and foremost, every South Sudanese who had the opportunity to secure citizenship, this is the moment. There are early voting in many different parts of of the United States, see your county election office, and then figure out when is the last day for your early voting. I think for most places, absentee ballot requests may have ended. It just ended last Saturday for Iowa, but now you still have early voting hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and that is until November 2nd. So the earlier you go, the better, so you don't take a chance for the last minute. And it doesn't matter who you're going to vote for. I would rather have you vote for Joe and Kamala Harris ticket, but let your voice be heard, from the senator level to the Congress, the local election. This is the golden opportunity that you get for being the U.S. citizen. Let your voice be heard. Don't be complacent or thinking others will do it on your behalf. It is your duty to go out there and vote. So let your voice be heard. Second, think of it this way. Ask yourself all the trouble and reckoning we have been for the past 4 years. Do you still have the energy to take the next 4 years that way? I personally think we need more steady leader in the White House, a man that we can all count on it. I have lived under Clinton administration, George Bush administration, Obama administration. Income-wise, I haven't seen a lot, even though the ACA, which is the American Affordable Care Act, made a huge difference on health insurance. But I have always had a peace of mind. Except the last 3 years, I worry that we may get in a very serious conflict. In fact, I started watching the World War video more to see if I would have a clue where we're heading. That's how it looked like back then. And that is coming from just out of curiosity and getting to worry about what we may get up to, So, yes, as a lots of moderate conservatives are switching their votes, They will vote for a conservative that believes in the conservative and the Republican values, but for the one that we have here, I believe is against anyone that don't agree with him, whether you are John McCain. I have always said, if somebody could attack John McCain, I don't see anyone that is safe except the one that didn't get in disagreement with him. Which means you could be the biggest supporter now. You wait until the day you get in disagreement, and it doesn't matter what your accomplishment in life, it will be tarnished, it will be trashed. John McCain is one of the individuals whom I highly respect. I thought they are essence of what make America great. His grandfather being the general and fought for this country. His father being a top general and fought for this country. McCain himself were born outside U.S. because of his parents' service in the U.S. Army. And he dedicated his life for this country through the Army and then in the United States Senate. He have led, some agreement between Republican and Democrat. We have seen him when he was competing with Obama. At some point, he had to stop and defend Obama. That is the man of character, principle, And we have seen how viciously he was attacked even a couple of months after he's dead.
Yes.
So I've always said, look at yourself, ask yourself your accomplishment in life in the United States, your background financially or your color of skin. Just any average citizen who loves his country, ask yourself, what have you done in life and your accomplishment, and compare them of those of John McCain. And if McCain's character could come under attack, I don't think your character is safe. It's a matter of time before you go across the fire. So we can't afford that. We can have a respectful disagreement where your accomplishment cannot be diminished just because you did not support certain president. We have always have a long history George Bush was viciously or was seriously attacked by candidate Obama. And look how much high respect that he gave to President Obama. And they built that bond. So this is what at the stake here. People of the United States need an stable mind person in the White House, the one that can go back to lead the global. Most of these organizations, human rights, United Nations, they were all formed and funded by the United States. And somebody is making them sound as if they've been using the U.S. How do you run and fund something that end up being called is using you? It is not using you. It's a misconception. It's a disinformation campaign meant to mislead most of the average people who don't understand the complexity of this world. For example, you heard Mr. President talks about why are we paying for the German security? Why are we paying for the Poland? NATO. Oh, well, technically, we are not paying for their security. We are paying for our security. The fact that we can have army at the border of Russia, that is why we're paying them. So we don't have to start secure another agreement or keep an eye on Russia before they start expanding the way Germany expanded once upon a time. And it will be worst nightmare if we have to start facing Russia from the border of Cuba and Florida.
Yeah.
But it will be good if we start facing them while we are in Crimea or in Georgia, right there on their border. So by us paying for this country to have a strong military, nobody should mistaken that we are paying them. We are paying ourselves. That's our security right there. Nobody would like to put all his guard at front of his door. If you are military man, you need your men a couple of miles away so that the fight don't happen from home. So these are what at the stake here. Thank you. I know it's getting very late, and even myself here. Some people really had to fall asleep, and I kept them up. So I stop here by encouraging all the Americans to go out and vote, regardless of whom you are voting for. Thank you.
James Agwek, thank you, my dear brother, for coming on and staying late and to do this together. I know Joe and Kamala Harris, they are going to be in White House, and that crazy uncle will be evicted next week. It will be evicted. It will get out. It doesn't matter because I hear him saying that, oh, well, the election is going to be rigged. America is always fair and the system is fair, but it's because he's worried. He's worried and he got there by mistake. But this time he's going to get out there. Our people need to understand that the character, Joe Biden is a man of decency, is a man of character, is a man of judgment. He will make right judgment. He will go ahead and do the right thing to American and to the globes. So we need someone that have respect. We need someone that respect others and respect other nations. So thank you. And
thank you.
From now, I'm going to go ahead and make a conclusion here, and I will call it. So my dear brothers and sisters, South Sudanese American and African, those who migrated to the United States, one more last time, I'm going to play that clip, and then you can hear it, the judgment of Joe Biden when he stands with South African. If you are African, this should resonate with you. If you are African descendants, if you are African migrant to this country, you know what Joe stands for. This is the guy that is not going to say, oh, you are a naturalized citizen. Actually, no, you cannot tell us what to do with our country, like what Donald Trump did to Ilhan Omar. The woman came here as refugees. And you know that Donald Trump right now, he said, oh, they are flooding our country with refugees. So he's not accepting refugees to come to the United States. He froze everything when it comes to immigration. You see what happened in the border with the Mexican, the DACA. Kids who were born here in the United States, simply because their mothers and fathers, they came here illegally. Imagine, his migration policy are so bad. And he has immigrant woman in his White House, his own wife. She migrated from where? From Slovenia. My husband, Donald Trump, you know who I'm talking about. His own wife, she's a migrant. and he's against migrant people. America always built on migrant. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being part of this program. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with the word of Joe Biden in 1986 when he confronted the Secretary of State of the United States not to do a trade with South Africa apartheid government. So that tells you who Joe is, the man of decency, man of character. He cared, and he will care about you, and he will care about the country. Good night from Washington.
Me more than the policy that you call a policy is the rationale for the policy. The rationale for the policy. You set out 4 principles that you adhere to, and then and I will go over them in a moment. Then you say on page 14, we must not become part of South Africa's problem. We must remain part of their solution. We must not aim to impose ourselves, our solutions, our favorites in South Africa. Damn it, we have favorites in South Africa. The favorites in South Africa are the people who are being repressed by that ugly white regime. We have favorites. Our loyalty is not to South Africa, it's to South Africans. And the South Africans are majority black, and they are being excoriated. It is not to some stupid puppet government over there. It is not to the Afrikaners regime. We have no loyalty to them. We have no loyalty to South Africa, to South Africans. And the fact of the matter is I listen to this rationale first of all. It is the leaders of South Africa and their people, black and white, who have the majority responsibility. They must rise to it. Well, they are rising to it. They're rising to it. The only thing left available to them with that repulsive, repugnant regime of Afrikaners there. And it's the only way they have. They've tried everything for the last 20 years. They begged, they borrowed, they crawled, and now they're taking up arms. The second thing, progress toward peace requires a timetable. Timetable, elimination of apartheid. What's our timetable? What are we saying to that repugnant regime? Are we saying you've got 20 days, 20 months, 20 years? We ask them to put up a timetable. What's our timetable? These people are being crushed. And we're sitting here with the same kind of rhetoric. The same thing we heard. We heard go slow. We heard we have to take care of the problem afterwards. We heard we can't impose.
You are totally misconstruing the testimony that I gave.
Read first.
Furthermore, Senator, let me say that I hate to hear a senator of the United States calling for violence.
I'm not calling for violence.
That's what you're doing.
I hate to hear
exactly what you're doing.
I hate to hear an administration and a Secretary of State refusing to act on a morally abhorrent point. I hate to hear this country. I'm ashamed that this country puts out a policy like this that says nothing